Troy's running a little bit late, but we're going to go ahead and call this special meeting of August 24th to order. Roll call, please.
Here.
Councilmember Hasselbree.
Here.
Councilmember Scoto.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Edgar.
Missing.
Mayor Murphy.
I am here. I guess, John, you're first up.
Are we going to do the question like we do
Sign in or anything?
We didn't get him, did we?
the agenda, I think?
You have an opening statement?
Nothing in particular. I mean, I've been on the Planning Commission. This will be going into my third term.
Yes.
I enjoy being on the commission. I got on the commission years ago because of some things that were happening that were very relevant to me in my neighborhood, and I don't want to say I wasn't happy with the way the city was handling it. I just realized that in order to make things happen and to have a role in the way things play out, you have to get involved. So I got involved in the Planning Commission, and I didn't think it through at the time, because when you do that, then you actually have to step back from those decisions that personally involve you,
Yeah.
right, because of the conflict of interest. But it's worked out really well for me. I really enjoy working with staff. I've enjoyed working with the other commission members and doing the general plan. So it's been a very positive experience.
Okay. You weren't here, but I was able to tell Larry that Harry Cartman is not applying. So there's only 2 of you for 2 spots. So you can go ahead and tell us the truth of what you think tonight. Be careful. Dean, you want to take the first question?
Sure. John, what special traits, characteristics, or experience do you bring to the Planning Commission?
Well, as I mentioned already, I've been on the commission for 6 years now. So I think kind of understanding how we've done things in the past and understanding how staff works, I think, is important to that. I really try and treat things very ethically and have a sense of integrity. I think it's important to remember that it's a service when we're up there. We're trying to do what's right for the community, and I take that into account with everything I try and do up there. So.
Thank you. I would go next. Rather than ask you why you want to serve, since you've already done it, let me ask you about the TVs. Are they affecting it all, or have you guys forgotten about them now, or did the TVs affect the meetings?
Well, are we on live, or are we just being recorded?
You're just being
Yeah, I don't. It hasn't really affected me at all.
Okay.
I actually think, I think it's good. I've been able to go back and look at meetings and things that have happened
As
in
have
the
we.
past if I were to have missed a meeting, and I think it's great. It's better than referring to the meeting minutes, right? It's a more effective way to see what actually happened. So in that regard, I actually like it. As far as is it a distraction or anything, I don't notice it at all.
Okay, thank you. Warren?
Sure. I'll go ahead and ask this one, number 3. What do you think are the most significant issues facing the Planning Commission?
Well, in consideration of the recent general plan, I think that getting the follow-through on that is important right now, getting the zoning redone. And then once we get the zoning on that done, I think we need to kind of trust what we've done with the work on the general plan. We need to trust what we have chosen to do with the zoning, and we need to stick with the plan.
Thank you.
Shelby?
Hi, John. What do you feel the role of the Planning Commission is, and since you have served, if you feel you've been able to accomplish and fulfill that role?
I really think there's kind of 2 roles. One is kind of a more reactive role when we have applicants that come in and bring things to us, and we need to kind of look at those different things, different applications, site plan reviews, things like that, and try and work with the applicants and guide them and try and get them to go in the direction that we kind of collectively have decided we want to go as a city. Or deny those things if we think that they're not the right fit for our city, or there's just something that we can't support. So there's that role that I think is kind of a reactive role when people bring things to us. And then there's another role that's more proactive, like the general plan, I think, is a good example of that, where we're actually trying to do things that are more forward-looking. And trying to decide what do we want this city to be kind of when it grows up, and how do we do that and maintain what the residents in the city have stated is important to them. And we spent a lot of time, did a lot of community outreach with the general plan, to get input from the community and find out what's important to them. And we, you know, so I think there's kind of those two roles to me, is the reactive and the proactive.
Good, thank you.
John, first of all, thank you for your 6 years of service that you've already given us. With your 6 years' experience, do you have any ideas of how we improve the Planning Commission in particular, or the commission structure as you see it operate in the city?
I actually think it's an interesting question, because the commissions change as the people on them change, right? And I think that the commission can be very effective, and then some people can change, and it can become less effective or less efficient. But I also think that's really important, right? And it's not, I'm not saying that the commission is more effective if everyone agrees, because I wouldn't say that we have a commission that necessarily agrees, but there are different ways to have healthy debate and to make sure we maintain decorum and respect, and that we're following the rules laid out. So I think it's important. I think the recent training we did with some of the changes on how we handle our meetings, I think things like that are important. I think like refreshers on reminders of the Brown Act, I think, are important. We are doing this one day a month, really. You know, we spend time outside of the commission meetings doing some other stuff.
Right.
But I think those things are important. I think that's, I think kind of having some refreshers on the Brown Act, I think especially, is important, because that is what maintains the integrity of what we're doing up there, and how we communicate amongst ourselves, and how we are transparent to the community. So I think.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Larry, your turn. Opening statement?
Good evening. No, I don't really have anything
Okay.
pressing at the moment.
Well, thank you for your service, too, and for reapplying. So
Thank you. The opportunity,
I'll
actually.
take the first question. What special traits, characteristics, experience do you bring to the Planning Commission?
As you know, I served on the Planning Commission for about 5 years. I've been out for a couple of years. Not actually by my choice. I did actually reapply both
Yeah.
times. So looking forward to the opportunity to possibly get back in and do it again. I have, besides the 5 years, I have a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, and almost 20 years of experience working with the construction industry in my line of work that I do. So pretty familiar with a lot of the rules and regulations and construction processes and procedures and things like that that we talk about and discuss in the meetings and vote on, and different things like that. I also was the general contractor on the complete remodel of my house too, so pretty aware of those processes and procedures as well.
Okay, thank you. Warren?
So what do you think are the, Larry, thank you for applying to, and I'm going to go to the question I asked before to the other applicants. So what do you think are the most significant issues facing the Planning Commission?
You know, I still think it's always keeping the balance between growth and still maintaining that kind of small town feel that Los Alamitos has been kind of accustomed to and known for. That's, you know, what draws people in to Los Alamitos, I think, is just that feeling of being able to live in Orange County, which is a large area geographically, but everything at your, at disposal, but yet when you go home, you kind of feel like you have that neighborhood feel. And there's a balance between that, because you do still have to continue to grow the city, to develop and create that growth. So there's a tricky balance there.
Thank you.
Shelley?
Hi, what do you feel that the role of the Planning Commission is?
You know, I think it's to continue the growth of the city and the community with the focus on the general plan. And kind of like John alluded to, I mean, I was involved in a lot of that in the beginning stages. They've obviously gotten further with that, but sticking with that general plan and knowing that the decisions that you've made, that you can use that as the map to help grow the community in the direction that you've kind of laid out.
Good, thank you.
Dean? Your choice, 2 or 5.
You served on the Planning Commission, you said, for about 5 years.
I did.
Why do you want to return to the Planning Commission?
You know, I actually enjoy it. There's a couple of reasons. I enjoy the process, but I also, I love where I live. I've told people that when I bought the house, I bought a headstone with it, and that's where I'm going to be buried. So I love living here. I love the community. I love the people. And for me, the opportunity to be able to give back, but also be involved in what is going on. I mean, actually taking an active role in what the changes that are going to take place in the community that I live in, I think is actually really important. I don't really want to stand by the side and just kind of watch or see things happen after the fact. I really like to be involved in that, and I feel like I have a lot to offer with my background in being able to help guide those, maybe, you know, hopefully in the right direction as far as the community sees it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Hi, Larry.
Hey, how are you?
Apologize for being late.
No, it's okay.
When considering the actions of the Planning Commission, how do you balance the best interests of the entire community against the likes and dislikes of yourself, your friends, or your neighbors?
It's really easy. I always ask the question before I make decisions like this, you know, what is the best choice for the community? And I think if you ask yourself that question, it really makes your decision-making a lot easier, because you're not taking the influences of yourself or your friends or your direct neighbors or anything like that. It really has to do with the community as a whole. I think if you just keep things in perspective and ask that question, it kind of really does keep you on the straight and narrow.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, we have 2 applicants for 2 seats, but the terms are different. So the only prize is who gets the longer term. Wendy, why don't we vote, and then just please put a 1 next to who you want to get the longer term. Whoever gets the most votes, they'll get the longer term. Everybody agree with that?
Wasn't there a third applicant?
He resigned today because of health reasons.
I know that,
Oh.
but I thought that when we interviewed for the TV commission, he said, per your notes, that he was interested in the planning commission.
That gentleman said he would consider the planning commission, but he would let us know at a later date. He's actually on vacation right now.
Okay.
Thank you. You just feel the excitement building, can't you?
Better than TV.
Okay. So do you want to take them one at a time and then do a motion and vote, or do them together?
Together's fine.
Okay, so we have 5 indications of support for John Riley, with 3 indications of support for the longer term, expiring December 2018, and 3 indications of support for Larry Andrade, with 1 indication of support for the December 2018 term. So by the votes, it would be John Riley for a term expiring December 2018, and Larry for a term expiring December 2017. Need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Congratulations to both of you. Thank you again for your service. Oh, one note we have to make is that Will Daniels' last meeting will be this week. So Larry, you would start in September. Okay.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Larry. John?
Okay, we will adjourn the special meeting of August 24th. I'm sorry?
Mr. Mayor,
Oh, before we close, Shelley would like to.
I would just like to adjourn, since this is earlier and more people are awake than later. Just adjourn in the memory of Brian Collette. He was a Long Beach Police Department who was a La Salle resident, lived in Carrier Row. He passed away last week at the age of 42 with a very short-term bout with cancer. He's survived by his mom, Connie, and his son, 17-year-old son, Kyle, and 9-year-old daughter, Madison. So I just wanted to send out our sympathy and prayers to the family.
Yeah, I'd just like to echo on that. Brian was a soccer coach for one of my boys growing up. He was always involved in the community. He's going to be really missed, and I really appreciate you doing that tonight.
Okay, thank you.